Hi, Thomas the Hermit, and I am a hermit, a man of prayer, and I have a YouTube channel, and I also have a Facebook group page called The Humble Holy Laity, where I teach prayer. Now, on this, we are talking about the 4 Waters of Teresa of Avila. Now, the first water, which I'll be discussing in this segment, has to do with when you take the bucket and drop it into a deep well and you pull it up by hand. Now, the reason that Teresa uses this metaphor is because the first level of prayer takes a lot of work on your behalf. You have to do a lot of the work. In later levels of prayer, on the second, third, and fourth water that we're going to be talking about later, God begins to do more of the work. But in the beginning, you have to do a lot of the work. She says that it is very laborious. These are her words. Because you're constantly having to keep the senses focused. You know, you get distracted real easy. You know, you're sitting there, you're praying in church, somebody walks in, you know, you have to see who they are. You know, maybe you'll be distracted and think, I want to have a conversation with that person. Well, all those kind of things take your focus off of God, you know. All these distractions that are coming in. Not only does Teresa describe the laborious effort that needs to be taken on an individual, she also describes the difficulties of setting out on this journey. Now, a lot of people sitting down to pray will begin to pray and they feel that nothing is happening. You know, so they're like, well, you know, I'm trying this contemplative prayer thing, but nothing's happening. And Teresa says this: if you keep dropping your bucket into the well, but the well is dry and you're not drawing up any water, keep doing it. That's what she says. She says, even if you never draw up anything your whole life, God will give you recompense. Now, I'm scratching my head and I'm going, well, why would anyone want to do that? Well, what Teresa, I believe, is describing is the perseverance that is needed to begin to see fruit in the contemplative prayer life. You have to persevere, you know, and it takes time. And it may not happen right away, you know. But the thing about it is that this leads me to the next thing that Teresa was talking about, which was the need to have the disposition of picking up your cross and following Christ. That if you resolve that you are going to embrace the cross, then you will succeed at this level and other levels, is what Teresa says. So she's a real no-no against you pursuing the sweetness that is in prayer. Now, is there sweetness in prayer as she describes? Yes, there is. There are indicators. I call them indicators. That's not what Teresa says, and I am teaching about her. In any case, there's experiences, let's say, of the presence of God. Or there's an experience of God's light entering into you, or God's grace or energy entering into your person, you know. And those things do happen to many people. But she's saying, don't pursue it. Now, what is the danger? Why would she tell you not to pursue these wonderful things? Well, the reason is because these wonderful things are not God. You know, they might be the effects of God, and our focus needs to be on God, not on the good things that are given to us. So when you pray, you need to be focused upon God, you know. As she talks about being in Jesus' presence, and she also talks about meditating upon Jesus' humanity. Who is Jesus as revealed in the Gospels? Okay? And you want to meditate upon that. So what kind of prayer are we talking about in the first mansion? Well, we're talking quite a bit about what is called discursive meditation. Discursive meditation is thinking about or reflecting about different holy realities. Does this open up a contemplative prayer? Yes, it does. It does open up God beginning to speak to the soul. It is not the powerful experiences that Teresa talks about later, but it is the beginning. And it is a necessary beginning because at this state, there's much that needs to be brought to order within us so that we can advance to a higher state. Now, do I know what that is? No. But you know who does? God knows what that is. God knows what is in you that needs to be transformed, changed, and healed. You know? And that is why Teresa is constantly talking about the fact that God is in charge. God is leading. You know? And that you need to be humble in God's hands. She talks quite a bit about humility all the time. In fact, all the masters of prayer talk about humility. Humility is foundational to enter into the path of prayer. Teresa lists 3 virtues that are necessary in the pursuit of prayer, which is justice, humility, and fortitude. Now, fortitude being that virtue by which a person continues to persevere, to fight the good fight, to continue to venture into this. Now notice, if there's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed within us, then we need to be approaching that with an attitude of, God, I surrender to you. God, take control of me. God, clean me up. You know, we need to have, and that's an attitude of humility. Justice meaning, what is the truth about ourselves? Okay, the truth about ourselves is that we are broken and we are in need of great repair. That is common with all masters of prayer throughout Christendom. Okay? And finally, I'm going to read the very end of this first chapter. There are 3 chapters, so there's 2 more parts that we're going to look at in the area of the first water. So then, I come back to what I advised before. And though I repeat it often, it matters not. It is of great importance that no one should distress himself on account of aridities or because his thoughts are restless and distracted. Neither should he be affected thereof if he would attain to liberty of spirit and not be always in trouble. Let him begin by not being afraid of the cross. And he will see how sure our Lord will help him to carry it, how joyfully he will advance, and what profit he will derive from it all. It is now clear, if there's no water in the well, that we at least can put none into it. It is true we must not be careless about drawing it when there is any in it, because at that time it is the will of God to multiply our virtues by means thereof. Okay, so in the first chapter, she says, if you want to succeed, embrace the cross. Now, I was confused about this. The first time I heard it, because we have these pictures of these great strivings that some holy people have taken upon themselves. Well, I would say this to most lay people. Embracing the cross is first and foremost embracing the fact that you are broken and that you are in need of redemption, you are in need of healing. That is the first level of that cross. And I would say further that embracing that cross is to humble yourself and invite God in to heal what is broken and what needs to be fixed. I think if you follow this advice in embracing the cross in this manner, you will make progress in the first water of TeresaThe. This is Thomas the Hermit. Say a prayer for me. I am praying for you. Pray for one another as we build the fortress of prayer, and I will talk to you later.